Hello, everyone, and happy day, evening, morning, wherever you are. It's Tuesday. Welcome to Live Strategies with Nat. I am your host, Natalia, and we are going to talk about emotional eating today, stress eating, and I've got a wonderful guest that's joining us, so just excuse me while I bring her on. It's the lovely Bethany, but let's just see. And I'll tell you a little story. Okay, I see her now. I'll tell you a little story because sorry. Okay, so losing my train of thought here. Okay, so Monday I woke up just completely, just out of it. Like hang on. Okay. Sorry. These live things, we try to do these things. Okay, so what I was saying was, I know she's there, but I just need to bring her on. So I was saying, like, Monday, I woke up just, totally feeling off. Like, and I know what it was. It was, not eating well, not sleeping well, like all these things. It all comes back to self-care, my friends. Self-love and self-care. So I'm just having a moment, trying to bring her on. Just give me one sec. Okay, so on the show, what my goal is to really help you fall in love with life again and your business, because quite frankly, a lot of people start a business and it ends up taking over their life because we're so used to either working in a corporate environment or just maybe not sure what we need to do, and it all starts with you. So that's what I like to bring into the show, is strategies for you every week that touches on different life environments, different life elements. So this month, I wanted to focus on health. And Bethany is an online health coach. So I'm just not sure, Bethany. I don't know if you can request to join, but because I'm just having a hard time bringing you on, my dear. These things happen. If you're watching and you are an entrepreneur and you've done your Facebook lives, and this is just part of the fun of it, right? Is just dealing with those moments when things just aren't going your way. Let me see if I can do anything else. I see her. Anyway, stress eating, for you guys, so you know, it is a form of emotional eating. So our emotions can get the best of us sometimes, can't they? Bethany, what I might do is just end this live and start again. If you can make sure your phone is flipped sideways, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it's just never had like this much challenge before, but you know what? It's all good. Roll with the punches. We roll with it. Usually, if this would have happened to me like even 2 months ago, I would have been freaking out. But we learn to just master our emotions. That's all. We learn to take the emotion out of it, don't we? So that we can stay focused, on track. Okay, guys. I'm not going to, what I'm going to do is, I think I see her now. Let's see. See what happens. It says adding. Okay. So while she's, getting adding. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she is.
Bethany, do you have
headphones? Yes. Let me grab them.
Awesome.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I didn't know you had to be on your phone. So I was desktop.
Oh, yeah.
But we're in business.
Amazing. Yeah, that was yeah, so that's a good tip actually. If anyone's doing Facebook Lives and they have guest experts, you want to both be on headphones so that you can take off that. No, it's actually my fault. I should have told you that before. But so lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
I love the background that you've got going on.
Thank you. It's my tapestry. It's like really
Ooh,
mystical. Like, I love it.
it is
My
mystical.
boyfriend says it's like a 17-year-old's tapestry, but I love it.
That's all good as long as you love it, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the important thing.
Yeah. So, Bethany, I thought it would be cool just to start off by, sharing a little about yourself and how you got into health coaching. And maybe we'll start the discussion on stress eating after that because it's going to be fun, right?
Yeah, of course. All right, so a little bit about me. I was always pretty active growing up, but then when I got to college, I like most people, I gained a lot of weight my first year of college because I wasn't being as active and I was eating whatever I wanted still. So I put on a lot of weight, and then I basically just wanted to figure out how to lose weight. So I kind of dove into that world, into the fitness world, and started trying all different kinds of diets. Kind of fell into like some negative patterns there, and then was like
Mm-hmm.
pretty unhappy. Even though I was kind of getting results, I still wasn't happy with my body. I still wasn't happy with like my life and trying to get into better shape. So then I really just took a hard look at my approach and my strategies and tried to find something a little bit more sustainable, which ultimately led to me changing my degree, getting my degree in nutrition, and then once I started getting a lot of results and feeling good in my body, and then it's just kind of naturally happened that a lot of my friends and family started reaching out to me for help with their own fitness goals. So then after doing that for a while, then it stopped being just friends and it started being like random people on the internet would reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram and ask me for help. So then around that time I graduated college. So then I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. So I kind of just went with coaching and got my personal training certificate, started working with people in person, and then really enjoyed that. I still do that, but I like to do more online coaching because you just have such like a wider reach. Like you can just help so many more people if you're doing online coaching.
100%.
Yeah. So I was doing that for like probably 8 months, just helping general population women. And then I realized that I got caught up in all of the tasks of just trying to run a business, and my own health was suffering. And I was like, hold up, that's not what I'm supposed to be. That's not what I want to do. So now I'm kind of focused more on helping female entrepreneurs and women that are trying to run a business as well as achieve their fitness goals. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
That's awesome. And you touched on a few different key things there that I think a lot of especially women entrepreneurs face, and it's about like not saying that men don't face this either, but it's like the body image, it's the letting your feelings kind of get the best of you, like that emotional eating, which I know we're going to get into. And it's also like one of the reasons why I started this show was because I have found that a lot of female entrepreneurs, they start this business, they want that freedom, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, hang on a sec, like this isn't how much I wanted to work, or this was supposed to be way easier, and like your health
Yeah.
suffers and all that stuff. So that's awesome that you're there to help people with their health specifically. So talk to us about stress eating. Like, what is it? What is it?
Okay, so most people, there's a lot of shame that surrounds stress eating. Like a lot of people think if they are stress eating, that something is wrong with them, or that they're not like, they can't handle their stress well enough, or they think that it's like this terrible thing and that they shouldn't be doing it, which ideally we don't want to be stress eating, but stress eating isn't just in your head. So when we're under prolonged stress, causes your body to release different hormones. So basically what prolonged stress is like the fight or flight mode. Basically, like when this used to help us a lot when our lifestyle wasn't as much of like thinking and working with like on your computer or working just with people. It was our day-to-day life was mostly like actually hunting or farming or gathering or whatever, and the fight or flight response was really helpful for us to be able to, like escape predators or defend your tribe if another tribe was trying to fight you. But now that we don't have those stressors, our body still goes into stress mode and causes all of our hormones to get out of whack. So it's not, stress eating isn't just in your head. It's not just like something that is wrong with you or that you're not able to cope with your stress well enough. Stress eating is literally a reaction of a hormone imbalance in your body due to being under prolonged stress.
I like how you put that because it is all about, you know, what's going on internally a lot of the time. And I like that you made that
Mm-hmm.
distinction between what your mind is saying and what, is physically going on in your body in terms of hormones and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. What are the like I know the stress hormones, but like what are those hormones that you're talking about just for everyone that for everyone's benefit?
Yeah. Okay, so one of the primary ones is cortisol. So prolonged levels of cortisol can increase your leptin levels, which leptin is basically what controls your appetite, and which if you have healthy leptin levels, that's like basically your body being able to say, I've had enough and I'm satisfied, I'm full. But if you don't have leptin, then your body basically is just always saying, I haven't had enough, I'm still hungry, keep feeding me, and then that leads to like increased weight gain and all of a whole mess of other problems.
Yeah. And it's funny because when right after I did my MBA and CPA, because I too did the first year weight gain after university.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! But then it happened again, like when I went back to school and got my MBA and CPA, and I was working full time and schooling part time, and like
Mm-hmm.
my cortisol and adrenaline, all those good hormones were just out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when like how do you know like I always come across this like how do I how do I know that I'm stress eating and like how can I stop? Like those I'm sure you get this all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like sometimes it's just being aware of like what is stress eating, what is emotional eating, what is just like basically any type of eating that isn't just coming from hunger,
Yeah.
of like your body actually needing food. Because like eating is a normal thing. Everybody should eat, but it's I agree that it's like sometimes it can be tricky being able to identify what is just stress eating and what is actual hunger. So what I always recommend to clients is just to take a look at the emotions that come up and the feelings that come up when you're tempted to like stress eat, and ask yourself questions like, did this hunger come gradually or did it just come out of nowhere? Am I just all of a sudden really, really hungry? And another question I would ask is, are you craving something specific? Or are you just craving some food? Because if you're truly hungry, anything will satisfy your hunger. Like you can eat a sandwich, you could eat a salad, you could eat a slice of pizza, everything will satisfy that hunger. But if it's an emotional or like a stress response, typically you'll crave more of like junk food or really fatty foods. So it'll be like, I'm sure everybody's been through this where you're like, oh, I'm hungry, but I just don't really know what it is that I'm hungry for. And then you're just eating a bunch of random things. And then you're like, I'm still not satisfied. Like, I'm pretty sure that's
Mm.
happened to all of us. That's more of like a stress or an emotional eating instead of true hunger.
That's really interesting. I really appreciate that because yeah, I think I've had like that's really enlightening actually. What do you think? Like, because I know, I mean, I even have a few clients right now that they eat when they're bored. Is that a
Hmm.
form of emotional eating? Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, and that's another question that I always ask or ask my clients to ask themselves is like, am I bored or am I just hungry? Am I hungry? And then to maybe just drink some water and then wait a few minutes. That's what I always recommend is just to wait and just 15 minutes. And if after 15 minutes you're still hungry, then it's probably actual hunger instead of just being bored or stress eating.
Yeah. Wow, that's yeah, because I mean when you think about emotional eating, it's just a, is it fair to say that emotional eating is using food to kind of suppress a negative emotion
Yeah,
or not?
it could be suppressing a negative emotion. It could also be that food gives you a positive emotion. Like when you eat certain
Mm.
foods, you literally get a response in your brain that says, like, your brain will release dopamine or serotonin when you eat certain foods. So sometimes when we emotional eat, it's because of that response. Like we know that if we eat that, that we'll get that response.
Oh, that's really interesting. Because, I mean, it's common sense. Like, it makes sense when you say it, but
Hmm.
sometimes, you know how you sometimes you need to hear things like over and over again before it
Yeah,
actually sinks in.
yeah. I
So,
completely agree.
yeah, like that's interesting because, like, you know, on Sunday, like we had like Chicago popcorn and like chocolate, and I'm like, yes, this is so good. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, it elicited this positive response. I'm like, oh, I want more of that. And you're just like,
Hmm.
no, it's not like
Yeah.
you're saying, it's not satisfying or whatever. Um, so how do you help? Like, how can someone like okay, so you know what it is, you have the awareness, or you kind of get you start to
Hmm.
build the awareness around like your triggers and things like that. How then do you kind of stop doing it going forward?
Hmm. Great question. So I always recommend to try, first and foremost, try and find other outlets that will help you reduce your stress overall. So maybe it's yoga or meditating or going for walks or like picking up a book and reading a book for a few minutes. And I think ultimately being able to control your stress overall is going to be huge for being able to help you control your stress eating.
Mm-hmm.
But however, like that's not realistic. Everyone, you can't reduce your stress to zero. So I think just recognizing the feelings that or like the patterns that come up when you stress eat. So, like for example, if I have a whole gallon of ice cream in the freezer and I'm really stressed out, it's pretty easy for me to just go straight to the freezer and grab a spoon and just go to town on that ice cream. But so when I'm in like particularly stressful times in my life, I won't keep that kind of food in the house to help me avoid
Mm.
going crazy on it. So it's not that I will never have ice cream in my house, and it's not that I would never eat ice cream, but you want to just set yourself up to be successful. Like you want to set yourself up to not have to make hard decisions and not have to be strong in the moment. Like to me, it's just easier to like make it easy on yourself
Yeah.
and avoid those situations as much as possible. Like for example, if you were out with all of your friends and you decided to go into an ice cream parlor, you're gonna go in and get like a scoop of ice cream, and then you'll eat the scoop of ice cream and you'll probably feel fine afterwards. You're not gonna go back for a second and third and fourth
Mm.
ice cream cone because it just wouldn't make sense. But if you're alone in your kitchen and you have a whole gallon of ice cream in front of you, it's pretty easy to overeat on those things.
100%. And what about when you're at work? Do you have any tips? Like when you're at work and the vending machine is like around the corner
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, I mean, I could go to the vending machine, but I know that I'm bored, or like I could go.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips for anyone that might be listening that's in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say to just try and find something that would replace that feeling to need to go to the vending machine. Maybe it's like just doodling for a few minutes, or maybe stretching or doing something that's going to take your mind off of it, because if it is just an emotional response, it will go away after a few minutes if you don't feed into it. But if it's then again, if it's hunger after the 15 minutes or whatever, then you're still hungry, you know that like you should honor that hunger and you should go get something to eat.
I like that
So
you
I
said
think
that.
just, yeah, sorry.
No, I love that. No, I'm sorry because it is about that, like giving yourself permission. So it's
Mm-hmm.
that fine line between like don't be restrictive,
Mm-hmm.
but don't feed into the emotional side of things, and try
Mm-hmm.
to, make little steps every day or every time that you feel this kind of urge coming on to say, okay, I'm just gonna. I like the idea of doodling a lot, or even just like looking at your planner, like just reflecting,
Mm-hmm.
even, or grabbing a journal or like a piece of paper or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome.
Yeah. You could even like just go get a drink of water, or
Yeah,
you could chew a piece of gum or something like that. That's gonna
that's a good idea.
like just get your mind off of the vending machine for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this has been super, super informative. Was there anything else you wanted to sort of comment around, like emotional eatings, or like I'm going to ask you in a minute where people can get more information about you, but because I think you've kind of hit on a lot of the really important points, like what is it? How can you recognize it, know your triggers, become aware of it, tips and tricks to help you kind of overcome it and stop it in the future. Anything
Mm-hmm.
else that comes to mind that you wanted to share?
Yeah. So what to do when it actually happens to you, and because it's basically inevitable that you will stress eat eventually. So when it happens, it's really important to not beat yourself up about it. Like, you're a human and it happens to all of us. You're not any less because you stress eat. And then not to try to undo any of the damage that you've done. So, like, don't go do extra cardio or extra activity. Don't restrict what you're going to eat the rest of the day, just to get back on track and not dwell on the fact that it happened, and just move forward with your life. Because if you focus on it and you keep going over it and like dwelling on it, then it's become this huge problem when it could have just been, oh, I stress ate yesterday, but now I'm back on track and I'm living my life again.
That is great. I'm actually really glad that you said that because we can do that. We can really judge ourselves. And then, like you said, it becomes a totally different problem. It's like, it's the way
Mm-hmm.
you speak to yourself, it's the relationship you have with yourself. And I mean, if anyone's listening and has any questions, like for Bethany, like now is the time to throw it in there. I'm sure, like
Yeah.
if you're listening on the replay, either way, say hello. But if you're listening on the replay, like feel free to add in any questions that you might have, because Bethany is gonna be, well, she'll be following the comments on this video for sure.
Yes.
And Bethany, if someone wanted to get in touch with you because they needed help with a specific thing, what is the best way that people can reach out to you?
I would say I don't have a website or anything, so I would say just either reach out to me here on Facebook. Just I have just my personal page, either Facebook or Instagram, and I'm pretty easy to find on there. It's just B Stevens Fit on Instagram.
Nice. Okay, we'll put the link in the comments for everybody for sure. If you wouldn't
Okay.
mind, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's been so great having you. I
Yeah.
really like it. It was really interesting because I love the human anatomy part of things, like learning about, how your body works, and the discussion around the hormones and the leptin and all that stuff was really informative. So, um, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you soon. And everybody have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.